What's going on, guys? It is your favorite national of the United States, 8 U.S.C. 1401A, the Badwolf, the Men in Black. Let's get into it. So this video is a hardcore, this goes out for educational purposes only, informational, entertainment. To all those trolls, agents that it fits, um, officers, and you name it, who once again like to put thumbs down on my videos. I think it's cute. Remember my first beer. And don't want to acknowledge that the national is a real thing. But let's debunk, and this will be the last time I make a video on this because it's really useless. Either you get it or you don't. Either you're a traitor to the United States of America, or you're a patriot and a national, or you're our civil servants out there who are known as public officers. Okay, that's it. That's really all there is to it. So let's get started. So the term sovereign, okay? So let's pull up Chat GPT here. Let's really go through this. All right. Because still get some of these trolls, and there always will be. So I'm not going to entertain trying to convince everybody. But I will make this video for people who want to share this with law enforcement or agencies or lawyers, um, trolls or whatever else. Because I will continuously, which I do with great pleasure, block and delete such negative information. And if I had a way of blocking or deleting, I guess I could sue YouTube for their advertisements under some of my videos, because I've never promoted anything to say that we are these sovereign citizens, but somebody likes to pay for their advertising underneath my videos, and that's fine. As long as somebody's getting the money, it's probably actually taxpayer money. It's either taxpayer money or some elite cabal group out there who sit in their little chambers and discuss things, or it's and if I could find it is a federal or other governmental agency using taxpayer money to fund a smear campaign against me, well, then I'll sue them. And then we can expose this on a bigger level. So yeah, go ahead and keep putting those advertisements underneath mine. I'll get around to suing you guys at some point in time, doing a FOIA request and forcing YouTube to find out who it is. We can play it that way. All right. For defamation of character, bullying, and slandering. We can do it that way too. But I digress. Let's take a look, shall we, at what a sovereign really is. Because I don't think some of you guys understand what's really going on here. And I know I'm not like the smartest guy in the world or anything. And I know that I don't really, I've spent like years studying this. And I've already beaten judges, lawyers, sheriffs, police officers, some of the states, and have had agencies back down. I'm just, and it's not like they watch my YouTube videos and have updated various law libraries and governmental forms based on what I've showed here. But, and I'm only going to say this, and I don't care about, no, I'm not even, nope, I'm not even going to say it that way. This is not the channel for that. I'll just say this. I'll just say that some trolls out there have a stereotypical look to them. And generally they look like they live in their mom's basement and they don't do a lot of exercise. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. With that being said, and I know most of them aren't going to want to look at this. So this is the last time I'm going to put the video out here. And let's jump into it. So I'm going to ask Chad here, what does the term sovereign mean in law? Or I'm just gonna ask it, what does it mean? Okay. So it says it's going to look at Black's law. It's going to interpret, look at historical things. So Black's Law, so the law dictionary itself acknowledges the term sovereign. So we know it's a real thing, but not citizen. We'll get there, right? Okay. So it says it is a person, a body, or a state in which is independent and authority is vested. The supreme, the absolute, and uncontrollable power by which any independent state is governed. Lowercase s. This means anything that operates on its own. This doesn't mean just the state of Arkansas or whatever else. Any independent state, lowercase s. Okay. And it says here, look, under constitutional meaning. So this is where the term sovereign citizen comes from, is the Constitution. Oh, so the Constitution's wrong? You do know the Constitution is the supreme law of the United States of America, right? Trolls, I'm talking to you, not talking to the good people out there. Okay. And I'll prove that too. Apparently, we got to take this step by step. So, if that's the case, it says here in the Constitution sovereignty rests with we, the people. So, we, the people, are sovereign. Because they refer to we, the people, as citizens, this is where the government or these agencies or these trolls or whoever's against America get the term sovereign citizen. There is no such thing as a sovereign citizen. But let's explain exactly what it means. Okay, in the statutory, meaning in the law, sovereign equals the state. Okay. Now, technically, this should not be capitalized here. But what they mean here when they do capitalize it is uh, the state itself, which is true. The state can be sovereign. They are sovereign. And it says here the people are treated as subjects or citizens unless they rebut the presumptions. So there are two types of citizens. There's a U.S. citizen and there's a state citizen. The state citizen belongs to the republic of the state. Like in Florida, you're Floridian. But there's also another type of citizen, which is a U.S. citizen, which is a federalized citizen within the state, meaning an employee or the public people that 90% of everything around us is operated by. They control the lower courts. The term person in their world means a corporate entity. You're receiving benefits, it's contractual, and they ask you, because there's no law, to register your vehicle, your birth, your property, yourself to vote. Okay. And if you have to do these things, or if you do these things, you are not fully sovereign. You are a U.S. citizen, not a state citizen. Another word for state citizen is national of the United States. Okay. Sov, S-O-V, means to be above. Reign is to rule. Like it says here, sovereign is not the same thing as sovereign in an administrative maritime jurisdiction. When a state actor says you're not sovereign, they mean you are not sovereign inside their commercial system. And this would be correct. You waive your rights from being a state citizen and a national to being a U.S. citizen, which is a 14th Amendment entity. Thomas Jefferson said, the people are the ultimate sovereigns. So your crooked ass police officers, lawyers, judges, and anybody else, are they more important? Do they have more power than Thomas Jefferson? No, they're not. They said, it's not me. I'm not out here saying we're sovereigns. I don't even like the word. Even though it is our word, we should be using it. So later on, here's what happened. When people started When certain people out there, which aren't us, aren't my people, decided they didn't like some things that the states or governments were doing, they decided they wanted to try to do certain, sometimes illegal or criminal things. When they decide, those individuals and some of their little groups out there decided to do some of those things, there's two ways you can look at that. Either one, where the founding fathers have said if the states or the government, especially, ever does anything that we, the people, do not like, we have the right to either ignore it or to take down and rebuild the government. It's not me saying it, it's written. Or you could take what those people are doing that are illegal and against the law, and you can call them sovereign citizens. But see, here's the thing. The word sovereign citizen does not have any legal standing in law. You cannot find that term. Even in the Constitution, they're not saying sovereign citizens. What they're saying is citizens are sovereign, meaning state citizens. U.S. citizens are given privileges and benefits, so they can't be sovereign. Judges, lawyers, police officers are not sovereign. They are in their private capacity as a state citizen and a national, but when they're in office, when they put on the uniforms and they get paid from the government who stands underneath the Constitution, meaning the Constitution rules over, these things? The Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. These things are still real, guys, right? You know that? My trolls out there? These things have power. They're still used. On a daily basis, we don't generally use them because we're operating in the state's jurisdiction or by certain governmental codes when it applies. But that's not our natural state. Our natural state is private citizens, state citizens, nationals. 8 U.S.C. 1401A. When we do operate to be a police officer or whatever else, we're waiving our rights. So guess what happens when you, as a private citizen, decide to use their things like zip codes, driver's license? You're waiving your rights from that piece of paper, and you are now treated as a public person like they are. That's the switch. I don't care whether you guys believe it or not. Go ask your legal department, but you won't. You'll just sit there and feel some type of way. Well, the police officer told me you guys are sovereign citizens. My instructor, when I was becoming a cop, said you guys are sovereign citizens. The judge said, well, what they told you is a tiny piece of it is correct. If a U.S. citizen or even a national, which are we have that both in one, okay? If you're doing something against the government that is illegal or criminal, you are a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, or a U.S. citizen for short, and they will prosecute you as a U.S. citizen. They may call you other things, but they won't put it on the document and prosecute you because they don't own, control. It has not been codified, meaning made into law, that there's a real status or standing of a person in the United States of America known as a sovereign citizen. They cannot prosecute you that. In all these years, my challenge still goes out there. Show me one court case where they prosecuted, not talked about, prosecuted somebody criminally under the charge of being a sovereign citizen. There isn't one. I've got America's jurisprudence books right here. See all these green books up there? Yeah, that's your top law right there. Not one of them mentions it. The Constitution says we the citizens are sovereign. So they created an N word for people who do certain things. But what does that really mean? So unfortunately, yes, there are some people out there who want to be private and left alone, and they do illegal, immoral, or criminal things as citizens. I'll be honest. Are there some people who are, because remember, I'll be honest, I said we have both a status and a standing. Status as a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen and a standing as a national or private state citizen. So two separate things. We all get it. I get it. You get it. Police gets it. Judges get it. All of them have a private capacity. GPO Style Manual, Section 5.23, issued by the Department of State, the government's publishing office. Authenticated document, Section 5.23, states the natives of the several states will be referred to as the following terms: Floridian, Wisconsinite, Arkansan, Californian. Nationals of these locations in the private, they are nationals of the United States. They are state citizens. Cornell Law EDU 8 U.S.C. 1101 A22B. All U.S. citizens are also U.S. nationals, but not all U.S. nationals are U.S. citizens. That means every one of us, even the trolls out there, have both that they can use. You have a private side and a public side. Your private side is a national. GPO Style Manual, Section 5.23. Public side, U.S. citizen, 14th Amendment, subject to rules, regulations of the state, of the county, municipality, etc. Federal government. The Declaration of Independence says we the people rule. So how can we have both? Because we have both. We can operate in one or the other. You cannot be in any one event both. When you're driving with you got plates, you're public. Police officer driving around, he's public. When you're at home or you create a private trust, you're private. State citizen, you're a national. National doesn't mean you're necessarily above the law. What it means is the law does not need to bother you if you're not doing anything illegal or criminal. So no matter which one of those you are, if you're doing something illegal or criminal, you are subject to the law. But there are some people in the system who do not like people who do it the right way. Now, understandably, they don't like the people who do things wrong. If you do things wrong, accidental or on purpose, you are a citizen or a national and you will be prosecuted. But these types of people who are bad, those are the ones who are referred to as the N word or the sovereign citizen. But there is no such thing. So the people inside the system who administrate, because they're generally in administrative capacity, see these people, whether they're doing it wrong or on purpose or accidentally, they're like, well, you're trying to escape our jurisdiction. You're trying to leave our gang. And what do? They prosecute them not as a sovereign citizen. They call them that, but they try to leave no trail. They try to leave no paper trail of it because they can be sued. But they'll mumble it. They'll cover the camera or their microphone. Oh, the sovereign citizen. They'll teach it in their little private groups. And when they're training police officers, oh, there's no sovereign citizens out there. They think they're above the law. And these people should be prosecuted. But now let's talk about the people over here who do it right. These people are then, like myself and thousands and hundreds of thousands of others, are operating under the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, and we have a right to. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution give those people the power to administrate over us. If we do not know how to operate in public and commerce, or if you start doing illegal stuff or criminal stuff at any point in time, they are the ones who take care of you, as in arrest you, jail you, and whatever else. If we do nothing wrong and we operate in good faith, then we're in our private capacity. We are to be left alone. Now, this does, once again, does not mean we can do just anything we want, get away with everything. No, it's saying I'm private. I've had police captains say this. I've had police instructional people admit this. Don't believe me? Talk to your manager, talk to your commanding officer, talk to the chief of police, talk to the governor. Talk to the district attorney. But you guys won't do that. You'll just leave a little couple of crappy comments underneath my videos, right? Because you feel some type of way. You know it all, but I guarantee you haven't read the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and Constitution. So you don't listen. You don't stay around long enough to learn anything. And I get it. I was one of you at one time. You think I just woke up and I was born this? I didn't know anything about this and its legal level of understanding. I started reading. I used to call people, "Oh, you're against America," as a Boy Scout. Literally, still have my Boy Scout handbook where it talks about your rights and freedoms under America. Still have it. Pages torn off, all other stuff. It teaches you about America, and so do these things. So, where does this come from? Because the government allowed the states and federal agencies to create a sub bubble, which is subservient, inferior to America and the Constitution and we the people. It is their own group, and they all kind of banded together and created a lower status of citizen in the United States called a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. Based out of the District of Columbia. When they created that, they gave you the ability to use it. Why do you think they always ask for you to prove residency? Residency doesn't mean residency means where do you live? And they always want a piece of mail with your name on it and a zip code. Try giving them a piece of mail with your name on it, just handwritten and no zip code on it. Nope, they're gonna say we need something official. Official things have your name in all capitalized letters and a zip code, because then you're admitting to being property of the state. Because that's how they get mail. What do you think non-domestic and domestic mean? Those are two separate jurisdictions. So because they don't make the distinction between good and bad individuals out there who want to be left alone, that's why I make these videos. That's how the cop explained it to me. There are some out there who just want to be left alone. And they're doing, as long as they're doing things within the merit of the law, they're good. Yeah, because we, the people, created the law. And if you're private, then you're working within the law and you're not subservient to it. The moment you do something illegal or criminal, you're subject to it. That's how it works. We weren't all supposed to be somewhat semi-fraudulently brought into being 14th Amendment U.S. citizens without being told the rules and what it is. But because you were over 18, they said, well, you didn't ask, we didn't tell. Yeah, but legally, you're still supposed to have it written somewhere. So that is a type of fraud. So now let's take a look at the codes that make this accurate. Okay, so once again, let's go down here and let's ask it, does sovereign, I always mess up the word or whatever. Probably because it's a stupid word. Sovereign citizen have standing in law, meaning can it be found in law as a real thing? The short answer is no. The term sovereign citizen has no standing in law whatsoever. It is not a legal status, not found in any statute, not found in constitutional text, not recognized in common law, not found in Black Law's dictionary. Can we finally be Done with that? Okay. No standing, no authority, no legal presence, no statutory basis. Okay. Now, let's go to Cornell Law EDU. Let's go to 8 U.S.C. 1401. All right. So right here it says U.S. Code 1401, nationals and citizens of the United States at birth. A person born in the United States and subject thereof. So that means you. It means every one of us are nationals and citizens. I don't understand like how people can see this. I guess they're ignoring it. They just turn off the information when they want to. So now let's look up the definition of national. Okay, there's two. Okay, actually there's three, but so the first term of national means a person owing allegiance to a state. This is the District of Columbia. So yes, you can be a DC national. 22 is what we go by. National of the United States means what? A citizen of the United States. So you get both. Or it can be B, a person, though not a citizen of the United States, who owns permanent allegiance to the United States. Go to the government. All right. It's their short manual. We need the whole thing. Okay. Right here. Government printing or government publishing office, section 5.23, nationalities. In designating the what? Natives of the states, which means nationals, means you're a Native American. If you use these terms, Floridian, Wisconsinite, North Dakotan, then that means you are a native of the states, the several republic states. National, right here, it tells you nationality. So these are nationalities down here. This is what they're talking about. So you are a national. Born in Kentucky, you're a Kentuckian. So not only are you a national, but you're also a state citizen. You're a citizen of that state. It's right there. Those aren't my books. It says it. So you can now see, hopefully I've turned on a light bulb. Most of you guys already get it. I'm not worried about you guys. Actually, I'm not worried about nobody out there in that way. But the good people get it. Literally just showed you all their documents. Or buy America's jurisprudence books and read them for yourselves under 3A, aliens and citizens. It'll tell you. It's pretty clear. But if you guys want to continue to operate as trolls or traitors to the United States of America, I guess you have that right. So God bless America. We nationals and state citizens, even though you guys are operating in a criminal empire to defraud, defame, cause unjust rules and regulations to be bestowed and arguments and the decline of our country, which is an act of war for any person in law enforcement, agency, whatever. If you are against the United States of America, you are a traitor. You're against the Constitution. You're against we the people. Period. That being the case, once again, sovereign citizen has no legal standing. They cannot prosecute you underneath that. They only have control over U.S. citizens. So how can they prosecute you underneath a sovereign citizen when there is no such thing? You would have to create a class, get it passed by Congress, adopt it, and then prosecute people. But then why would you prosecute people that you control and own? So calling somebody a sovereign citizen, you're basically, if you are born in this country and you're using that term, and you're calling somebody who's doing things right and not criminal or illegal, then you're a traitor. If you're calling somebody that who is doing something illegal, you're partially right. But they can't be prosecuted underneath that. They get prosecuted as being a U.S. citizen. The term sovereign citizen is the N word. That's all they're doing. Just want you guys to know. For real. That's like saying, oh, those purple flying monkeys, there are no such thing as purple flying monkeys. Oh, you mean real monkeys that have been shot out of a cannon and they're wielding knives and they're hurting people? Oh, yes, those normal monkeys who are doing crazy things are the problem. Good, law-abiding state citizens and nationals are not the problem. But does that mean that that there aren't bad versions of them out there? Yeah, there's bad cops. You know what I call bad cops? Sovereign cops, sovereign judges, sovereign lawyers. Same thing. They think, and the worst part about it is, at least as a citizen who's doing something wrong, they're supposed to be caught and taught the right way. It is rare that a rogue or sovereign police officer, sovereign sheriff, a sovereign judge gets caught and prosecuted. So there is no such thing as a sovereign citizen. It's a regular citizen who's trying to be above the law, and they should be prosecuted if they're doing something criminal or illegal. If they're doing something within the rights, and understand, there are a different level of rights and freedoms when it comes to the Constitution. The Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, the federal court, Supreme Court rulings called opinions. That is the real law. Is right to travel a real thing? Yes, if you do it right. Can you carry an arm? Do you have the right to bear arms in the public outside of your house without concealed carry? Yes, constitutional carry. You have the right. But will you possibly be challenged on those things? Possibly. That's why you need to have everything done right. But the Constitution says we don't need to answer for our rights and freedoms. So when a cop, a judge, a sheriff, a lawyer, an attorney, or whoever, anybody, if you're not doing things right and they're not sure, they're supposed to talk to the legal department. But they do what's called obfuscation. They hide it. They're not doing their civil job, which is to learn about the Constitution. They don't teach the Constitution. What I teach is in the history books, in the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. It's all in there. Let's finish up by asking chat what the highest law of the land is. So let's get back over there. Because if I'm quoting that it's the highest law in the land, then I need to prove it. I need to back it up. Is the Constitution for the United States of America, the highest law in the land. Yes, the Constitution for the United States of America is the supreme law of the land. This comes directly from the Supremacy Clause, Article 4, Clause 2. But there are also sub laws underneath other bubbles, but they are not the highest law, which means their lower level laws cannot take away your rights and freedoms unless you waive them verbally or by contract, or you do something criminal or illegal. Then you waive your rights to the Constitution. You've entered the public, and that's when they will call you this, that, or the other. But there is no such thing as a sovereign citizen. It's an oxymoron. You can't be sovereign, which is of your own free will and accord, and then a citizen, which is subject to the city state. You can't be both at the same time. It's like being called a big little shrimp. It doesn't exist. Technically, they do have big shrimps, but not a big little shrimp. So that's it. Have a good day. Talk to you guys later. Badwolf is out. There is no such thing as a sovereign citizen. It's their way, these hidden cabals, elites, judges, police officers, it's their way of calling people who are trying to live privately something different and stigmatizing those people. But are there people who do various processes and are against the government or against the police? Yes. But they're not operating peacefully. So we're not going to call them nationals. They're just citizens who are prosecuted as citizens. But are they still yet born as nationals? Do they have that? Yeah. So a lot of those confused people think that, well, I'm a national, so I don't have to listen to the government. It's not how it works. It means as long as you're not hurting anybody, you can do whatever you want to do to a degree, as long as it's not jeopardizing public safety, hurting somebody, or taking away somebody else's rights, like right to travel, constitutional carry, et cetera, et cetera. You can do those things. But if you're doing it illegally or wrong, or you're against the gov or the police for whatever your reasons might be, then yeah, and you can be against them all you want. But if you're doing something that endangers them or other people, that's when they can get involved. If you're not doing anything illegal or criminal, but let's say you're doing right to travel, and that's not illegal if you're doing everything correct. It's not even criminal if you're doing everything correct. Mixing up national stuff and citizen stuff, that's why they call it, because you're mixing the public and the private, and that's considered a no-no. You have to be one or the other. But let's say you're doing everything in the private right and they still bother you. That's a lawsuit then. You sue them and you make a ton of money. You're going to make at least $500,000 for that incident. So you sue them. But if you don't have everything right, you're going to lose. I've beaten them personally 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever times it's been now. You're not going to see the wins on TV because they don't want the information out there like that. And if you want private information, you got to go to a private person or learn it privately because they operate and deal with the public. So watch more videos, read the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and Declaration of Independence. Know your rights. I'll talk to you guys later.